and welcome to this new tutorial. Today I want to show you my bigger setup for a half improvised techno live set. I'm building this set for my live in Berlin in August. Check my Instagram page for being update about this live. And as you can see, we have multiple machine involved: the Octatrack, the 303, the 404 and the EC4. You can see it, but I have here below the SP my broadcast MIDI hub that is controlling all the MIDI signal. And before we start diving into the setup, if you want to dig more in your hardwares like SP-404, Octatrack, but also the Polyant Tracker, the original one, check my 101 Dowless lesson service on my Gumroad page. You will be able to build a setup like this and manage really fast and easy those kind of setups or only one machine. So the first thing is that the Octatrack is the master clock and is taking care also of the audio routing. So everything is clocked via the Octatrack. Continuing by explaining the MIDI side, as I said, the Blackast MIDI hub is taking care of all the routings. The EC4 is controlling the effects section of the SP. And I have mapped here also the input effects of the SP for the bassline. This is because the audio output of the 404 is going into the input A and B of the Octatrack, and the input C and D are free. So this means that the audio output of the 303 is not going directly into the Octatrack, but is going here into the mic guitar input on the front. And the setting is on mic. I can take advantage of this by driving a little bit more the input. So to recap, the Octatrack is taking care of the MIDI clock and synchronization between the various machines. The EC4 right now is not controlling anything on the Octatrack, but is controlling the SP effects section and the input effect for the bassline. The audio output of the SP is going into the input A and B of the Octatrack, and the audio output of the bassline is going into the input of the SP. This also means, obviously, that I can't detach the two audio into the Octatrack, but they are going into one pair of inputs only. Now, let's start to have a view on what I have into the Octatrack. You can see the first row of encoder, but you can see the screen. This is a bigger setup than usual, so I have to make it stay whole in the screen. Track 1 to 4 are samples track. I have here folders of loops that I have created. And I have populated track 1 to 4 with those loops. So usually I did not use the loop as it is, and I show you now. In the first track, I have always the kick. In the second track, I have always some kind of percussion. In the third track, the open hat and top loops and stuff like that. And in the fourth track, I have congas, percussion of some genre, maybe particular stuff. All these loops, as I said, are coming from folders of loops that I have created. So every folder or track, I have called it track, but they are not track, they are simply 8-bar loops, sometimes 4-bar loops. They are sounds that can live really well together, but my goal is not to use the loop as they are. So let's mute for now. The track 8 is the master track. So on track 1, I have always a kick, and when I want to change this kick because I want to change the track, simply I can go into another and change my kick. Now, this will be so easy by using the fader and scenes, but let's talk about this later. Let's go back to the first. Yeah. Now, the same goes for the other 3 tracks. But now, the kick loop is D loop. This is sliced. So usually I load a loop, then I change its quality. So let's create a slice grid. And now yes, and the same goes for the other tracks. I have also other folder. For instance, this is a folder full of percussion, strange thing, glitchy stuff. Let's load this. And they are always on time because I saved the sample settings, so every time I recall this particular sample, this will be with those settings here. Of course, I can change those settings on the fly, especially the track tricks. Let's random lock. With this method, I can build a track live by using this resequencing point, let's call it like this. And by the fact I'm using particular samples in particular folder, I'm sure that they are speaking well one to each other. So it's a little bit safer. This is why I call this a half improvised set. So basically these 3 tracks here are interchangeable and they can be something different in every track. It depends on the mood and I can pick and choose what to load on. One thing to notice is that I can use the cue to listen in my headphone and not to make the listener hearing this. So I can change everything I want, change the sample, change everything basically. And then when I'm ready, so this is a convenient way because I can do this silently. Let's talk about track 5, 6 and 7. Track 5 is simply the true track. I have only applied a little bit of LFO on the volume here in order to duck a little bit the incoming audio, nothing too special. And I have here 2 simple effects. Now, as I said, this is a work in progress setup, so it's not finished yet. I want to dig more on the effect section. I have the SP-404, sorry, that can affect in various ways the 303, so I can use this in a more creative way to lock on the scenes. As you can see, the scenes are not all ready yet, but I think that this setup is good enough to show you the core concept. On track 6, I have a recording buffer set on 16, and this is recording the incoming audio. So what's happening on the 303 and the 404 is recorded on this track here, and I can use this track to change the structure of the line. Let's do an example. Now I can record, and I have mapped Sim 5. When it's on A, we are listening the input. When it's on B, we are listening to record the track and we are excluding the input. Maybe it's more clear. Let's and of course, again, this is something I can change every time and create a B section or a drop. The Sim 6 is the same scene but without the kick basically. It's locked. And this is very convenient to build different structure or different sequence. On the 303, sometimes, not every time, but sometimes I'm sending with a MIDI track some notes just to have a little bit of variation. This is the original one. Or locking the arpeggiator. Let's try. You can build variation on the fly, and when you want to change, simply delete the track and you have still your 303 going. Nice! So on track 7 I have another recording buffer which is set on 64, and this time is recording all is going on in the machine. I have scene 13 and 14, which are set to play only the recorded part. So on A, we are listening the normal sounds, what is going on. I'm recording now. And now we are listening our recorded track. So this is useful because when I want to change track or sometimes only a loop, I can introduce it slowly. This is useful to change tracks or change some elements in your tracks to make variation. You have to manage all of that in 4 tracks. This is challenging, but if you are preparing a little bit your loops, merging some kind of similar sample lines, let's say a hat with some claps or percussion with other kind of percussion, so you make rich and complex loops, it's really easy manageable and you are not stuck with the loop you are using. You can use loops of every BPM, whatever you want. So the core concept is, of course, to prepare your loops and save your samples and your settings on the samples. So every time you recall those samples, you are sure that they are working well. And then it's only matter to change parameter on the fly. You have to, of course, save the parts so you can always go back. Another thing is scenes. They are not ready yet. I'm planning also to make multiple patterns in multiple parts, so I can leave the track as they are, but change some of the effects and change some scenes. So I have different kind of flavor. It depends on the pattern I want to use. For now, I have only the basic stuff to perform a little bit. Resample, the general resample, and for now this is it about the scene. Let's talk about the 404. In this setup is used as a big effect box for the bass line. I have, by the way, my lines written on the bass line, and I have always the last pattern. Sometimes I want to write the pattern live when I'm playing, and as I said, the output is going into the front input of the SP. Let's hear the difference. We are really pushing it hard, and it's distorting, but in a pleasant way. So we are basically saturating the input. This is without saturating the input. But here, how much the sound gets thicker as I drive the input. So this is the reason why I want to use this input here. The EC404 is controlling all the 5 buses, and I have a dedicated video for that in my channel. The various pads are used to launch samples and to launch vocals, also to launch different kinds of rhythmic sample, in an additional rhythmic sample. Maybe this is too high in volume. And use the EC4 to change the sound of the bass line. Right now is mapped on the vocoder here, but I'm planning to map DC4 to other effects to make this live set a little bit more interesting, because we don't have a lot of tracks. Now, in this case, I fired this sample here, which is a rhythmic sample, manually. I haven't decided yet if I want to do it manually or use the pattern section. This is a little bit risky. Sometimes with a lot of cycle can shift and go off. So this is something I haven't decided yet. But those kind of samples or effects, vocals, they can be really launched live without worrying about that. To recap a little bit, I have subdivided the tracks into these 2 machines here plus the 303. Here I have my basic and core pattern, and here I have all the additional sounds. This side I have all the resampling capabilities of the Octatrack plus the True Track, and thanks to the EC4 I can change the sound of the bass line. This is very important because we don't have so much track at our disposal. I tend to use less track possible because this is way manageable in a live situation, and you can have a lot more control on your set. Every machine needs to have a really precise task. This is the core concept, and this is so important. We are not simply playing some stuff, but we are deconstructing and reconstructing the sample that we have prepared just to have a canvas, a basic canvas to work on. This is it for this tutorial. If you have some question about this setup, feel free to write down in the comment, as long as a suggestion or polite criticism. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Ciao!